when someone changes their lifestyle, is from a food perspective, they incrementally change it. What happens is it's like a drug. When they see results, they want more.
Yeah.
When they lose 10 pounds, I told my wife this today. I said, the reason you're doing good, because we just had a baby. She just had a baby. When you start to see results, when the scale moves, or these jeans fit that didn't fit 4 months ago.
Or people give you compliments.
Compliments. It's like a drug. You want more of it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like buddies I had in college. Dudes use steroids. Okay? Steroids are an addicting drug as much as like a heroin or a cocaine. Why? Because you see results and you want results. It's the same thing. When you can meet it, like you said earlier, is a great term. Meet in the middle and say, hey, look, let's just cut out Go-Gurts. Let's just cut out bread this week. Just cut it out.
And watch what happens.
And watch what happens.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing. Here's the thing that I see. Let's go. You drink 14 Mountain Dews a day. Let's go to 7. Let's say 7 Mountain Dews a day this week.
Yeah.
And then next week, let's go 3.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I've seen people do that. The weight will fly off of them, and they will feel better. If you go in and you're drinking 14 Mountain Dews a day, I say, hey, bro, no more Mountain Dews. They're going to push back.
Yeah.
Getting someone to change their food lifestyle is the same thing as religion.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds
It's
like
the
a lot
same
like
thing.
religion.
Because if I kick the door in and say, listen,
Beliefs don't.
all of you son of a guns are going to know Jesus, and you're going to know him now. It's not going to work.
After the episode, head over to iTunes or the Apple Podcast app if you have an iPhone, or the Stitcher app if you have an Android device. Go ahead and subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that. Enjoy.
Head over to shruggedstrengthtest.com and take our free 3-day strength test. We'll send you 3 days of testing that takes about half an hour to about an hour each day. Each day you'll get exercises that we're going to walk you through, showing you step by step what to do. Once you finish the test, submit your results, and then we'll send you a bunch of feedback showing you where we think you could be stronger and then how to fix certain weaknesses that you might have found. Head over to shruggedstrengthtest.com to get started.
CTP.
12 seconds in is what he said.
Oh my gosh.
Is the man.
The hardest I've ever laughed and cheered at the same time. I think I cried and pooped a little. Like, it was insane.
How did you do last night? Was it back on?
Yeah, I
pick right back up where he left off?
Yeah.
Like riding a bike?
I felt good. My shot was a little off. I kept missing the net, but, I had
Who all played with you?
no problem getting around.
Rich, Matt?
No, just Rich and Darren, another guy that we met yesterday, and then most of another crew that usually comes.
Oh,
yeah. There's one guy.
How about Sparta?
Oh,
Sparta.
yeah. Well, the first directions that we followed to get out there put us in a neighborhood, and I was like, man, it'd be really weird to just have a roller rink pop up in the middle of this neighborhood. But I don't doubt it. I don't know, But we were like a mile from it, so it worked out. So.
Oh, and this rink looked like it was straight up out of
it was the
1982.
Yeah.
Yes.
it wasn't a rounded rink, They weren't like edges.
I've been there.
It
I
was
played
a
with
square.
them once.
Yeah. Did you have
I'm
fun?
awful. Freaking awful. You would think a guy that used to get paid to play sports would be a little bit more athletic.
Yeah,
but it's
this
on
is
wheels.
It's a different hemisphere.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, so you guys ready?
We're ready.
3, 2. Welcome to Barbell Shrugged. I'm your host, Mike McGoldrick, here with Alex Macklin,
Yo.
Kurt Mulligan,
Hey.
and as always, CTP behind the camera. And today we have made our way to Cookeville, Tennessee, on the west side of the square, downtown, with our very special guest, Thomas Cox of MealFit.
Hello.
Thomas is a good friend of ours, and we're very excited for this interview, mainly because he's a very passionate guy, and I just can't wait to pick his brain on some things. And without me talking anymore, Thomas, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh, okay.
How did you get here?
How did I get here? Well, we got a moving truck, moved all this stuff here, but originally from Alabama. I used to coach college football and high school football. Got into the college football thing, loved it. My boss in North Carolina, when I was coaching at North Carolina State, got fired. And so when you get fired in college football, everybody loses their job. So we lost our job, had no job for a little bit. Well, the guy that coached me came to Tennessee Tech to coach. Called me and said, hey, you want to come coach for me? I was like, great. I don't have a job. I'd love to. We moved to Cookeville from North Carolina. Coached here for 6 years. Coached the offensive line and wide receivers. Loved that, but realized I was raising college kids instead of my own kids. So we started having kids throughout that process. Quit my job because I was raising college kids. And then took a huge pay cut, took like half.
Yeah.
I went from like 60K-ish to like 30. And just said, but I knew that it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, so that's why we got out. And then, like 3 or 4 months after being in the job working at the church, literally it sounds super spiritual, but like God put something in my lap. A guy walked in my office and said, hey, help me figure out what to eat. And I did. And 2 weeks later, a guy sent me a check in the mail. It was like, hey, can you help me like you helped Greg? I'm like, yeah. And it was a domino effect from there. And then here we are.
MealFit headquarters.
MealFit HQ, downtown Cookeville.
Very cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
And were you like doing meal plans for people or?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
This whole thing started out to being meal plans. Me sitting there creating recipes for people, sending out grocery lists, just really honestly, Alex, just to make people's lives easier. That's really kind of our MO is we're not like super special. We don't have the key ingredient to fitness or life, but we want to make people's lives easier.
Yeah.
And so that's really where this thing started out. And here we are, 2.5 years later, and we've had clients in over 25 countries, thousands of people in over 25 countries use our product, which is awesome. When something pops up in your email that someone from Bogota, Colombia has subscribed and going to eat the food that you tell him to eat.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. So earlier when we were discussing some possible topics for today, it got really passionate to the point where we're like, we got to stop. Like, we need to start filming now because you had some really good stories for us, and I love the statement that you make with what it is that you do. So with that said, like leading into why you started MealFit is a really good story, and then what your purpose is with it.
Right. So it pains me, and I've got friends that own fast food restaurants. Got 2 friends here in town that do. But it pains me to see a guy or a wife walking out of the gas station with a 75-ounce Slurpee and their kid holding it with 2 hands that they've got one, or seeing 6 people in the drive-thru and a family I hate to pick on McDonald's, but that's the one everybody picks on, so I'm going to pick on them too, at McDonald's, and that's the way they feed their family multiple times a week. And my job, my passion is to keep your family out of the drive-thru. I want to make your life easier so that you don't feel like you have to rush and go pick up something in the drive-thru, whether it be Sonic or McDonald's or Wendy's or wherever. I want to make your life easier and get it to where you have real food to eat. And I want to keep you out of the drive-thru.
So why might that be a bad thing? I mean, I'm asking a very obvious question that I think a lot of people would know, but explaining why, you want to actually do that and help these families, based on some of the numbers, the things, how food has changed, the food industry has changed over the years. Like, why are we trying to avoid that?
The food industry has changed drastically over the years. I'll give you an example. I'm a little older than y'all, but okay, so remember growing up, how many kids growing up, and I'm just picking on this one thing, how many kids growing up were allergic to peanuts?
I don't know.
I had one friend.
I never knew anybody.
I never heard of it.
I had one friend allergic to peanuts growing up. Okay, now my wife, who's been teaching for almost 15 years, she's a science teacher, and she makes these peanut butter cookies. She can't make that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many kids are allergic to peanuts. What do I attribute it to? Could it be immunizations? Could it be the food? I think it's part of the food we're eating. The food industry has changed so much, and it's all become about the dollar, that people are adding artificial ingredients that you can make in mass to food, and it's not real food.
Yeah.
The food that people are producing in these fast food restaurants, it's not real food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to get you to eat real food. If it had a face and it had a soul, eat it.
If it rots.
If it rots, yes. If it rots, that's a great point.
Yeah, because I think I saw somewhere, I don't know if this was fake or not, but somebody left a quarter pounder with cheese out on the table for like a year or something, and it still stayed looked the same like a year later. Like if food doesn't rot and decompose, that shit ain't food.
You don't need to eat it. Exactly. So that's part of the reason. Here's the thing. If you work out an hour a day, 5 days a week, you are the anomaly. That is outside the box for a lot of people. But and that's important. Working out is important. But here's the thing. If you eat just 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes per meal, 3 times a day. That's an hour and a half, 7 days a week. You are eating so much more than you're working out. But yet, when people get ready to go to the beach, what do they want to get in shape or feel better? What do they want to do? I want to work out. No. If you want to change your life, fix your food. Fix your food. You can fix your food. You're doing that 3 times a day, every day, sometimes more.
Yeah.
So 3 times a day, every day. And if you work out once a day, you're really doing it.
Yeah.
And so that just tells you right there what's more important.
Yeah. I was seeing something somebody posted on Instagram. I think it was Leslie Schilling. We had her on the show, or we'll have her on the show for full depth. But she posted something. It's like, if it were just as simple as work out more, eat less, we'd all have this shit mastered by now. Everybody would be fit. So
There's no doubt.
Food and nutrition is the bottom foundation.
Yes.
So what's changed? Like, you'd think that it would have changed. When we were kids, it was part of like the family dynamic. Like, your mom's on the way to take your sister to dance practice, maybe you to t-ball, whatever. You stop off at McDonald's on the way through. The kids are like, "Woo, hell yeah, McDonald's!" Yep. Like, why hasn't that changed as much as we feel like maybe it would have, being in our little fitness bubble?
The guy Bezos, the guy that owns Amazon, he made a comment before. He said, in business, you're not the question you don't need to ask yourself is, what's the next thing? Okay. The thing you have to ask yourself is, what's not going to change? Here's the thing that's not going to change. People are not going to get any less busy.
Yeah.
And so we rationalize going through the drive-thru, eating crappy food. I'm just so busy. No, you suck as a planner. You're not that busy. You suck as a planner. So if we would plan better, okay, so that we can eat real food, you wouldn't have to use the excuse of you're so busy. Here's the thing. You're going to plan to have a great meal for your boss or a potential client that's going to come in.
Yeah.
You're going to plan that sucker out, aren't you?
Yeah.
But you know what?
Very true.
Why would you just feed your kids, the people that are your offspring, you created them, why would you feed them that? Okay, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to take a plant. We feed a plant what? Water.
Yes.
If I took a plant and I fed that plant a 20-ounce Coke every day, how long would that sucker last? Seriously, how long would that sucker last? Okay, but yet we feed the humans that we created a Coke, Kool-Aid, sugary bullcrap, and yet we feed a plant that costs $4 at the Walmart.
Yeah.
Water. Oh, don't water. Oh, you got to feed it water. Got to water it. But yet we're feeding our kids and things like that. You can tell it upsets me.
Tell me about the numbers, how they've changed over the years. You brought that up earlier,
right, good point.
And that was an interesting statistic, which I would love to hear more about.
Childhood diabetes. Yeah.
So this obesity thing is really, it's really mushroomed since like the late 70s, early 80s when I was born. In 2000, there were 0 cases of childhood obesity, type 2 diabetes. Okay, 0 cases in 2010 of type 2 diabetes. In 2010, there were 57,000.
Wow.
Okay,
mind
so
blowing.
57,000%, I guess the 57,000% increase in 10 years. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know, it blows my mind that we have done that to our kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Why did that happen? What do you attribute it to?
In my opinion, I think it's sugar. And for so many years, fat got the bad rap, you know. But the worst thing we did with fat is call someone that's obese fat.
Yeah.
It's like calling Rich protein.
Yeah.
It is. Seriously, though.
Yeah.
You look at Rich, it's like, he's so protein. You look at someone that's
fat
obese.
will forever have a negative connotation.
I'm protein.
I'm protein. Yeah.
Look at protein today, bro.
But you call someone that's overweight fat, it's the worst thing we can do because fat is an essential product in our diet. And so we call someone fat. It's like I said before, it's like trying to get me at a makeup counter at the mall, trying to get your wife. Brandy comes by, and I'm saying, hey, you need to buy this lipstick. It's really good. It's this, it's this, it's this. And Brandy goes, okay, great. What's it called? It's called Ugly. Now, how am I going to get Brandy?
But it's good ugly.
But it's good ugly. It's good ugly. How am I going to get Brandy to buy lipstick labeled ugly?
Yeah.
How am I going to get someone to eat fat?
Right.
Yeah.
After all these years, they see someone so wait, and I call them fat. It's so hard. It's a mind shift that we've got to make, but it's hard. But I think it can be done.
Interesting.
Yeah. I actually never thought about it like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So this is an interesting topic, and not one I can really argue about because I don't have children. So when it comes to dealing with clients or people that I try to help eat better and eat cleaner and save time, I don't really have a lot of leverage. I don't want to say arguing my point. I'm not trying to tell them that I'm right. I'm just trying to help them see that it is possible. But you have 3 children,
yes,
and you've done this. And this is what you do now, is you help those families eat cleaner and save time and do those things. Tell me about that, like the challenges that have come up with that.
What happens is I'm just like anybody else. We're busy. We have things to do. And what happens is instead of creating snacks, because snacks are the big thing. I mean, snacks are the big thing. We sit down six nights a week and eat dinner together.
Yeah.
We make it happen, whether it's at 6:30 or whether it's at 8:30. We figure out a way, because I think that's important. But the biggest thing is snacks, because my kids, my little boy, he's 4, the sucker eats like a grown man, and so he's always wanting snacks. And I think what happens is we neglect that. And so what we had gotten into is like Go-Gurts and crappy, sugary filled things like that. And I read this book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, where he talked about the food industry, how they were masking good food. Yogurt's a great food. What they were doing is they were saying it's yogurt and it's portable.
Healthy,
it's healthy because it's yogurt.
Yeah, because it's dairy.
Yogurt.
Yeah,
it's dairy.
it's
protein.
Low fat.
It's got protein in it. But what they were doing is they had so much sugar in it. We started analyzing, saying this thing had like 20 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
In a Go-Gurt that was you're done.
Yeah.
And so I had told Jackie the other night, it's my job to eat good. It's my job to help people, and yet I look at what we were doing. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so it's been a process of taking things out.
Yeah.
Just little by little. You can't walk into someone and say, all right, look, here's what we're doing. We're going gluten-free, no bread, no grain, no pasta, no sugar. Everybody button. No, you can't do that because people will go the other way.
Yeah.
They won't listen. If you can do this thing step by step, hey, let's take this one thing out. You know what? My kids don't even notice they don't have Go-Gurts anymore.
Yeah.
And just progressively do those things. If we can do that, I think we'll have success. And we've seen it in our home. We've progressively taken little bitty things out of our kids' diets, and it's made a difference. Their attitudes have been better too.
What are some of the things that you've gradually removed out of your diet that you feed your kids?
Go-Gurt was number one. Okay. We also we were big hot chocolate people. We loved hot chocolate. We took that out. It didn't matter if it was August or December. We took that out. We're slowly taking bread out. Now, I love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich as much as the next guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't eat them, but my kids like them.
Right.
And so we're slowly taking that out of there. We were big tortilla people.
Yeah.
Big, because they're so easy. My 7-year-old can come in and make a little tortilla and go. Now, in my opinion, it's probably a little bit better than bread.
Yeah, it's a lesser Vivos.
It's a lesser of two Vivos, but we're starting to take those things out. So those are just some of the things that we've kind of pulled out. Now, the candy stuff, we don't buy cookies. We don't. My dad comes up once every 2 months and he gets gluten-free cookies and he brings them in, and my kids go ape over them.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a battle I'm not fighting.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you handle, like, if your kids go to school? Do your kids go to school?
My kids do go to school.
Yeah,
We
like
don't
public
homeschool.
school?
Yeah, public school.
So like, how do you handle? Because I've read somewhere like they feed kids crap in public schools, and then if they go to their friend's house, like how do you deal with that? Like trying to train your kids to eat healthy.
So when it comes to school, it's all about time. It's all about managing your time. I spend 30 minutes a night making my kids lunch and snack the next day, because the place that my 4-year-old goes, it is really, really bad. Like as far as the quality of food. Like I looked in there one morning, them suckers were eating.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Exactly. They were eating Pop-Tarts, mandarin oranges, and waffles.
Oh my God!
Where's the protein?
That would put me in a coma.
Okay, look, they were.
I wasn't in
that.
a coma in high school. I think I slept all through high school.
Yeah, because of that.
I was asleep.
Yeah.
I was asleep the whole time.
So they're feeding them that. I just looked at it and I was like, I don't want my child eating this. So I do. I spend 30 minutes a night when I could be watching American Idol or The Voice or something like that.
Right.
And I sit there and I make
Great show.
Great show, yes. I like The Voice better than American Idol. But I sit there and I do that every night because
it's a priority for you.
It's a priority. It's
important.
A big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. It's not like the one big birthday party where your kid eats ice cream and cake. It's the constant daily thing. It's like in life. It's like in business. It's like the Bible says the little foxes are the ones that spoil the vine. It's not the big bear that comes through your vineyard and tears everything up. It's the little fox that comes through that messes up your garden. It's the little things that you do. It's the snack every day.
Yeah.
It's the lunch every day. What are you feeding your kids? Because over time, that's what's going to affect them.
Yeah. People forget that consistency is a big thing. It can be consistency in a good way or consistency in a bad way. You didn't get to obese, maybe occasionally eating a McFlurry or something like we did the other day. Like, this is an everyday thing that you're doing, and this is how you got there. And then if you want to reverse it, it's going to have to be an everyday thing to reverse it. And people don't see it that way, I think.
The thing that is discouraging as a coach, because I coach the gym 3 days a week, is someone comes in there and they're obese, they're out of shape. And when's the last time you worked out? About 18 years ago.
It's almost funny.
It really is.
They laugh about it.
But they sit there and they go, after 6 weeks, they're not, why am I not down to so-and-so?
Right.
Well, it took you 18 years to get this way. It's not going to take you 18 days to get to look like you want to look.
Yeah.
And so we go over that, and that's really, really hard for people to wrap their mind around, because consistency has been the key to anything in life.
Right. Right.
Well, all right. So what could you give to these families or someone who is trying to change this behavior after however many years? Like we said earlier, kind of meeting in the middle, because it's a really difficult thing to change. It's easy to tell your children to do it, but like you got to be on board too. So getting the whole family on board, like what are some just like easy takeaways that you could give, the listeners that maybe have kids and families that would really want to get started?
Yeah, and maybe to add to that, I was going to ask, like, was it always easy? No. Where did it start?
No, it's never been easy. I remember when we lived in North Carolina, me and my wife would eat grilled chicken, and we would get those 5-pound bags of crinkle cut fries. Okay,
Ore-Ida,
And we would fry them, y'all. We would eat a plate the size of this computer every night and drink grape Kool-Aid. We love grape Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But I was proud of this the other night. So the night we're sitting there, and something was said about Kool-Aid. Jackie said something about Kool-Aid, and I said something. I said, grape Kool-Aid. And John, my 7-year-old, goes, what's Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
I felt bad because my kid didn't know what grape Kool-Aid was.
Your kid doesn't know what purple drink is.
But I felt good that she didn't know what grape Kool-Aid was.
Yeah.
So the little bitty takeaways that you can do is start slow. Don't walk in and throw things away.
Yeah.
Okay? This is really, really petty, but this is a big deal. Go to the grocery store right after you eat. Eat and then go to the grocery store, because what happens is when you see something, your mind says, I want that, because you're hungry. You will grab it, you will put it in your buggy, and all is lost, because when you get it home, you're gonna eat it.
It's in the house. You're gonna eat it. It's on the house. You're gonna eat it.
So use your willpower in the 30 minutes you're in the store, not at home. Don't test your willpower all week long.
Yeah.
Test your willpower for 30 minutes, not 6 days.
Yeah.
And so go to the store right after you eat, because if you're satisfied when you walk in, you're not going to want chips. You're not going to want the fun-size Snicker that's really small, but there's 64 of them in there. And so
it's a good deal too.
It's a great deal. And on the end cap. So those are a couple things. And the next thing is pull things out as opposed to adding things to. So here's the biggest mistake people make when wanting to eat healthy. And I've got friends like that here locally. Well, it's organic. You know what? Organic Oreos are still Oreos.
Right.
And they're out there because it's marketing. But instead of adding something that's super organic or adding something that's healthy, let's take one thing out that's bad. Us, for one of the things, I keep picking on Go-Gurt. Us, it was Go-Gurt. We took that out because it was loaded with sugar. But take one thing out. Don't go in and say we're just wholesaling everything. We're taking all the bad stuff out. Take one thing this week.
Yeah.
Take one thing next week. Let's implement this as opposed to this. Always have a substitute. Our sub, we spend a crap ton of money on fruit. I mean, we buy 2 bags of apples. We buy 3 or 4 things of strawberries. My kids love cantaloupe. We bought a watermelon for the first time this season, and they were pretty good. So we've used that. And we have in the neighborhood with kids, and Jackie came to me the other day, and she's like, these kids up the street, they're just, all they do is want to come and eat. And I was like, babe, we want kids to hang out at our home. Don't we?
Yeah.
We would rather have kids at our home as opposed to our kids going to someone else's home. So if we want these neighborhood kids at our home, let's feed them.
Yeah.
I said, I have no problem with feeding other kids an apple or an orange or a banana. We go through 24 bananas a week. 24 bananas a week. Now, somebody out there is going to say, "What's sugar?" Yeah, I get it. It's sugar. I do. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a different glycemic rise in that.
Well, it has other redeeming qualities.
There's no doubt.
Vitamins and minerals.
Exactly.
I'd rather than be addicted to fruit and bananas.
Whatever, fruit gummy bears or whatever the hell.
Here's one of the things that I was proud of my wife helping do is last night, Jackie cut the watermelon open. They were freaking jacked when they went over there and the watermelon was open. They were just, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
A watermelon and cantaloupe was dessert last night.
Yeah.
And I know it makes us sound like a fruit or not. I don't really care, but that's just the shift that we've made. And you know what? Our kids are healthy.
Yeah.
You know, our kids are healthy. And I feel like that's something that we've done over time. It's not going to change overnight. Your kids are human just like you are. Mm-hmm. You are not, and they are not going to change overnight. So that's why you have to do these things incrementally.
Yep.
I was going to ask you a follow-up to that. Have you always kind of prioritized food quality? I know you said earlier that you took a big, giant pay cut when you left your job as a coach. And a big thing that I've noticed is that the quality food, like the food that you're buying, is like 5 times more expensive than the crap food. So yeah, you can buy a big bag of chips for $5, but you can maybe only buy like a small bag of fruit for that same amount and feed half as many people. So have you always kind of prioritized food, like, but in terms of your budget and things like that?
We're budget people.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of people out there aren't budget. We don't have disposable income to where we can just buy whatever. So one of the key things of that is not eating out.
Yeah.
Anytime you eat out, you are paying 4 to 5 times more for the food than you are if you go buy it. So we eat out once a month maybe, and we have 3 kids. Now let me tell you something. If you have multiple kids, going out is an adventure that you don't want to partake in. It's not like an adventure like, hey, we're going to go through the woods hiking. It's like an adventure like we're going to go through the woods hiking, being chased by bears and snakes.
Well, how many kids do you have?
3 kids.
And what are their ages?
7, 4, and 4 months.
So they're all like really young. So taking them out to a restaurant is a big ordeal.
It's suicide. I don't like doing it. And Jackie, my wife loves going out to eat because she likes she doesn't cook anyway, but she likes to sit back, relax, talk, have someone bring this. I don't like it because I don't want to have to put out all the fires that we do. But getting back to your question is, we didn't sacrifice that when we took a huge pay cut because the first thing is I planned financially because I knew about 3 or 4 months ahead of time that this was going to come down the pike.
Right.
And that's why it's always good to be good with your money because you never know what's going to come up. So we didn't sacrifice that. We sacrificed other things like going out to eat, spending less on the miscellaneous items that you would buy throughout the month that may not be necessities, because we knew that food was important. And if you can just figure out and cook things and make things and spend a little extra time, that is where you're going to see the biggest difference. Buying this and cooking this as opposed to being a poor planner and so, oh my gosh, I got to go get something at McDonald's or Shoney's or whatever. So,
again, I mean, I think it's a you've got your priorities all messed up. A lot of people won't think about if it's money. They're like, well, I can't afford to eat good food, but yet you just went out to eat at a nice restaurant because it was convenient, or you went out to the bar or whatever. Like I see this all the time. Like Kurt, you were in the muscle gain challenge and you had to eat a certain way and it was expensive for you and you quit your job.
I did.
But you still did it because you prioritized it.
Yeah, I gave up certain things,
Right.
like going out drinking a lot or drinking a couple rock stars every day.
Yeah. People forget that you make a choice. It's a choice.
doubt.
I think it's a weaning off process too. Obviously, if you're used to eating out several times a week, right? You're kind of reliant on that. You're reliant on someone providing that service for you. You probably don't want to just want to like cut it all out at once because you're going to starve yourself at home too. You're going to get burned out on having to cook if you have no experience doing that either. So just like you said, picking out one thing a week. Yeah. Start with taking out one day a week that you eat out. Have that extra time to plan and learn how to prepare food could be really helpful.
Oh, no question. I think that also you never know two things. You never know what you're spending until you track it. Save every receipt. When you're at the gas station, you buy a Rockstar and whatever else. Save the receipt, throw it in a bag.
Yeah.
When you're at going out to eat at Longhorn, save the receipt, throw it in a bag. At the end of the month, count up how much wasted money you. And I say wasted. I shouldn't say wasted because you ate dinner at Outback or Longhorn and you fed that meal.
Yep.
But you paid $17 for a steak that cost $6.
Yeah.
And it's a domino effect from there. So add up how much you spent on miscellaneous wasted stuff. Then go back and figure out what you spent. Cut that in half, like you're saying. Cut that in half and buy real food. We are a family of 5. I say 5, 4.5. And we eat for about between $120 and $130 a week. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's doable for a lot of people.
A family of 5?
Yeah.
$130 a week?
Yep.
Wow, that's
really
pretty good.
That's really good.
And we do. We
My
buy
wife and I eat
we
more
buy
than that.
real food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing too, is eating real food.
Yeah.
Well, that's your kind of philosophy, to eat real food.
Yeah. If like I said before, if it's got a face and a soul, eat
Yeah.
it. If it grew in the ground, eat it.
Yeah.
If it's about 47 ingredients, stay away.
And I mean, I like what you do too. Is it's got to taste good too. Like if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to eat it. And I remember reading about what you do specifically at MealFit. Is that we're from the South, and we got Southern food, and Southern food just traditionally is just not very good for you. But you've managed to make Southern food that tastes really good. Try to make it as healthy as possible.
I think it's more about taking the bad things out than it is putting the good things in. And so you can take some little bitty things out of what you're eating, and it'd be fine. But here's another thing. My grandparents were 93 and 80-something when they died. They didn't have all that crap back then. They ate what? They ate real food.
Yeah.
It's like my dad tells a story all the time of sitting there. My dad went off to college. He went to a really nice college because he got a football scholarship, and he came back, and his granddad was sitting there, and he was eating bacon cooked in lard, eggs cooked in lard, and my dad comes in and says, "Hey, Papa June," he says, "You need to not eat that. It's gonna do this. It's gonna hurt
Clog
your
your
heart,
arteries.
clog your arteries." And so he said that about something else, and he said, Well, son, if I didn't eat this, I'd starve. And he's right, because all they had back then was real food.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of the philosophy we want to take is eating real food. And another thing you gotta communicate to people is don't be scared to experiment.
Yeah.
Spices and things like that, they don't have any much nutritional value, but they can be a game changer as far as the way a food tastes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so you've got to be able to spend the $3 to get a different type of seasoning to experiment and make things taste different.
Yeah.
So I think that's big, is experimenting.
I think the hardest part when you're starting this new adventure on cooking more for yourself and eating out less is just that first couple of weeks when you're learning to what extent you can really simplify the food to where it's not really boring to eat.
Right.
And it takes some time, and you got to be okay with that for the first week, because it's hard in the beginning. And it's hard in the beginning because you're like, I just baked all this chicken, and after one day of eating it, I am exhausted with it. I don't want to eat this crap anymore.
Yeah.
But you learn, you learn the tricks, you learn the ways to cook stuff faster. It definitely takes a little bit of time, but now it's like second nature when I think about cooking for the week, you know, and I know what to avoid when it comes to, if I make that, I know it's really clean and healthy, but I'm not going to eat that all week. So you do have to kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah, you got to have variety. Yeah. Where did you find all these recipes that you have?
Some of the things that we do are original. A lot of stuff we do is me getting home, and it sounds awful because I'm the planner guy, is me getting home and not having a plan and throwing things together. Most of the time, those are the best things, because that's where I thrive, is going in the kitchen, seeing that we have these 6 things, me making something, and going from there. That's where I do. And I'm be honest, I'm a huge Pinterest guy.
Yeah.
Like Pinterest, the internet is
Pinterest is huge
it's
if you're a foodie,
it's
man.
a wealth of But here's the thing too, going back to what you were saying, Mike, is you sit there and you go, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what. Here's the thing. If your wife is gonna go make curtains, she is going to spend freaking 20 hours looking at curtains on Pinterest, on Southern Living, on all these things. But yet, she's not going to spend 30 minutes trying to find something. You can type in anything on any of these search engines, and you can come up with 1,000 chicken meals, chicken dishes, beef, whatever, and you're going to come up with a bunch of things.
Yeah.
You can even throw the word healthy in there and get even more things.
Yeah.
And so it's all about your priorities. Like you were saying earlier, it's all about your priorities. If you got time to look at curtains, you've got time to study new workout shoes, but you don't have time to study 20 minutes for food.
Yeah.
You know, something's wrong with that situation.
Stop
Why-
making
why is
excuses.
that?
Yeah.
Well,
People just make excuses.
I agree.
Stop.
I'm going to come from the other side of it and then kind of challenge that. Like, why is that? Why is it not fun to do that?
Because people are intimidated by getting in the kitchen. That's number one. It's intimidating.
Yeah.
The fire, the heat, they're afraid to screw it. They're afraid to screw it up. Okay.
Yeah.
And most people are afraid also to get away from the norm. My wife goes to a Mexican restaurant. She orders the same thing every time. You go to the Longhorn. She orders the same thing every time. We are creatures of habit. And I figured that out in our business here, the MealFit Ready aspect of it. I started being creative because I like to be creative.
Yeah.
I order something different every time I go somewhere. But I started figuring out that people quit ordering and didn't order as much when I did something that was a little bit out there.
Yeah.
People like fajitas.
Yeah.
People like
I made fajitas last night.
Exactly. People like cauliflower pizza. That's one of the things we make that people go bonkers over. People love lasagna. People love the things that they know.
Yeah.
And when you can make the things that they know healthy, they like them even more.
Yeah.
And so people are intimidated. I think that's the biggest thing. Is
Yeah.
People are intimidated. People don't want to screw things up.
I'm going to be honest. A lot of the companies now that are taking the new spin on creating healthier meals, I'm more prone to going towards those companies that make things that I'm familiar with already with a healthier version of it. When it's something that I can't pronounce or haven't heard of, I mean, I'll try it, and it's usually pretty good. But if I've never heard of it and I haven't eaten it my whole life, I'm kind of like, I mean, But if you make, cauliflower pizza or, a paleo lasagna, I'm gonna crush it.
Yeah. I think one of the best pieces of advice I've heard about food and variety is that find like 10 or 15 recipes that you like and that you know how to make. You just make them all the time, and you don't really have to go back to that recipe. You just make them all the time, and then just switch them up. Yeah. And then that's just your recipe, your little repertoire or whatever.
Here's
recipes.
like the predicament that I see is like we're talking about a top-down model where we're changing the way our kids eat or maybe our friends or something like that. But what about I'm pretty amped right now. I'm like looking at the shit that my family eats, which is terrible, by the way.
Right.
Shout out to Mom for trying to kill me. Anyway,
Mother's Day's coming up. Mother's Day. That's the kind of shout out. Damn.
Just kidding. Lola. Anyway. Well, Kurt, I didn't know that wasn't healthy. Okay? I'm sorry, I'm not paleo. Okay. Yeah. And I'm actually talking about my dad, my stepmom. Really, is like they've got a 15-year-old son, but they buy so much crap. And so, how do you bring that to your family? I'm fighting an uphill battle. When you're talking your parents actually eat clean. That's an issue that I see. Is like we want to try to work back up the ladder, not.
That's a good question, and I want to hear your thoughts on it too. Obviously, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's when you try and break someone's beliefs, that's when the problems come. So if you show up, beliefs bend better than they break. So if you come in and tell someone you're all doing this wrong, we're cutting out the gluten, like you said earlier, people are going to be like, whoa, and they're going to run and they're not going to come back, and you're never going to, positively influence them. So the meeting in the middle, like you guys do, which is what MealFit does from what I see, which is an amazing thing. And then also it's society's view on what's normal now. Yeah. We talked about that earlier. Like, tell us a story about when you saw someone, that you deemed as fit.
It disturbed me more than anything, Mike, because I was driving down the road and I noticed someone on the side of the road and they were in good shape. And I noticed them. They caught my eye. And it wasn't because it was a chick that was hot. It was just someone that was in shape. And then as I kept driving and kept seeing people on the side of the road, seeing people at Walmart, I noticed that the norm is overweight and obese. And it bothered me. And I sat there and I go, what is our deal? Where it's like you and I talked earlier, 20 pounds overweight is bad. It is awful on your heart, your nervous, all those things. But 20 pounds overweight now.
That's the normal.
That's normal.
That's the normal. Yeah.
And obese is
overweight.
Is overweight.
It's just one step.
And morbidly obese is now obese.
Right.
And so I sat there and I go, like I was telling you, you are fit. But you're the anomaly.
Right.
You are different. And when used to, I guess 20 years ago, people didn't walk around like that.
No.
People weren't overweight. People weren't, having to have the cart in Walmart to get their groceries just because they can't move.
Yeah. And people think that when people, they're trying to change their life, or you tell them to change their lifestyle, and be like, well, I'm fine, I'm normal. This is how I'm supposed to be.
Because they look around and they blend in.
Right.
Now, there are a handful of things where it's okay to be in the middle. The only thing I think where it's okay to be in the middle is when you're talking about changing someone's lifestyle. Because here's what happens. When someone changes their lifestyle, is from a food perspective, they incrementally change it. What happens is it's like a drug. When they see results, they want more.
Yeah.
When they lose 10 pounds, I told my wife this today. I said, the reason you're doing good, because we just had a baby. She just had a baby. When you start to see results, when the scale moves, or these jeans fit that didn't fit 4 months ago.
Or people give you compliments.
Compliments. It's like a drug. You want more of it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like buddies I had in college. Dudes use steroids. Okay? Steroids are an addicting drug as much as like a heroin or a cocaine. Why? Because you see results and you want results. It's the same thing. When you can meet it, like you said earlier, is a great term. Meet in the middle and say, hey, look, let's just cut out Go-Gurts. Let's just cut out bread this week. Just cut it out.
And watch what happens.
And watch what happens.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing that I see. Let's go, you drink 14 Mountain Dews a day. Let's go to 7. Let's say 7 Mountain Dews a day this week.
Yeah.
And then next week, let's go 3.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I've seen people do that. The weight will fly off of them, and they will feel better. If you go in and you're drinking 14 Mountain Dews a day, I say, hey, bro, no more Mountain Dews. They're going to push back.
Yeah.
Getting someone to change their food lifestyle is the same thing as religion.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like a lot like religion.
Because if I kick the door in and say, listen,
beliefs don't.
all of you son of a guns are going to know Jesus, and you're going to know him now. It's not going to work if you don't know who Jesus is, and you don't.
Yeah.
You're going to say, I don't want to know who that is.
Yeah.
But if I come in and say, hey, look, let's do this. Let's just go and let's go serve at this homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go. I'll go with you. That's one step into converting someone that doesn't know Jesus to know Jesus.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's a foot in the door.
Exactly. It's a foot in the door. It's the same thing with food. Hey, let's drop that thing to 5 Mountain Dews today.
Yeah.
And it's a stair-step process from there.
Yeah. I kind of completely derailed Kurt's point earlier, but you ended up covering it. It was awesome. The question he asked about, specifically families and people you care about. Yeah, like how do you get them started without completely getting them turned off to what it is you're trying to say?
Yeah. And I think you also have to be very persistent too at it. Like if you care about them, you love them, like don't give up. Like I had to do this with my own parents in that I tried to get them to adopt, a healthier lifestyle, start eating paleo and doing CrossFit. I hammered them for years to try to get them to do it. So I think persistency, just like we were talking about earlier, with consistency, like if you want somebody to change, you're going to have to put that effort, that consistent effort into trying to get them to change as well.
Yep, and I think that it's also something where, pardon my language, you can't be a dick about it.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Here's the thing. The old saying is you get more flies with honey than you do vinegar.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You got to love people.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about religion or whether you're talking about getting someone to change in a way that you think is best, you got to love them, and like you said, meet them in the middle, and from there it will progress.
Come from a place of love and show that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so hard as a big brother, though, because I would rather just look at my brother and be like, you look like 200 pounds of chewed gum. That's how brothers are.
Right. No, it's like, hey, there's the funny thing is that's the way I grew up, and my mom would probably watch this. But every morning, you know what I ate every morning for breakfast? Soft batch chocolate chip cookies.
Hell yeah.
Honey bun and orange juice.
Oh my
But
God.
you know what? The orange juice was good for you.
Yeah.
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 And so we were good.
Yeah.
But that's what I ate every morning.
Yeah.
So I know my mom's not a cooker. My mom cooks a heck of a meal at Thanksgiving, a great meal at Easter, and a great meal at Christmas. But really, and she was sitting here, she'd tell you the same thing. That's what she does.
Yeah.
Now she's gotten better over the years because I really do, honestly, I think because of what I do now, she's gotten better because she feels pressure.
Yeah.
But her son's the food guy,
Well, how do you eat now? I'm just curious. Like, just people may want to be interested. Like, what's like a typical day for you now of eating?
Okay, so typical day.
By the way, Thomas is shredded.
Typical day. I get up really, really early, and I drink coffee in the morning. I have time in the morning where I have to get going. I sit there and read, work, study, all those different types of things. And then if I'm going to work out, I work out, and I'm done before 6 a.m. Reason being is I've got kids, and I've got to get stuff going.
Yeah.
So then at about 7 o'clock, I eat eggs. I eat 4 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon every morning. And then a lot of times at lunch, I'll eat some source of protein and try to get some kind of vegetable in.
Yeah.
And look, I am not like the keto guy, okay? But I found out for me, and everybody you talk to probably on this show that you ask about eating, everybody's got something different that works for them.
Yep.
For me, it is more low-carb thought process than anything. I remember talking to you one year where you were consuming, like when you were training for the games, I think the year you made the games, you were training, you were consuming rice, you were consuming potatoes and doing things. Y'all, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel as good, and this is so vain. I don't look as good.
I mean,
but here's the thing, though. I mean, feeling good is a major, major point. But another thing is, if you don't look good naked, for someone that's in this industry, it's hard.
It's as much as I hate to say it, it's credibility.
Yeah, it really, really is. And so that's part of the thing for me is I'm more of a low-carb thought process. And when I do consume them, I'm more of the sweet potato thought process than – I love jasmine rice.
Yeah.
I can make jasmine rice that will make you push your grandma in a ditch. It is very, very – and I will teach you guys –
I don't know what that means, but it's funny.
I've had jasmine rice. Listen, it must be pretty damn awesome.
Listen, I will teach you guys before we leave.
Yeah.
Okay, so –
we should do a video.
Yeah, we'll do a video on how to make jasmine rice. It's very, very good. So I like that, but I get the fact that it doesn't make me feel as good and it doesn't make me, quote, look as good because it just doesn't go well with me.
Yeah.
I've done keto. I did keto 8 weeks. Loved it. It's difficult because ketogenic diet.
Okay.
What
is that?
Okay, ketogenic diet is where you have to get your body's process to start burning fat for fuel as opposed to burning carbs.
And you do that
You do that by consuming a lot more fat in your diet than carbohydrates. So I was sub 30 carbs a day. 70% of my calories were from fat, and probably 20 or 30% of my calories were protein.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing that the mistake I made the first time I did this. So what happens is when you consume carbohydrates, your body releases insulin. Insulin takes the sugar and it distributes it through your body. Okay, dumbed down version of it. But what happens is when your body can't process enough all the protein you consume because you're consuming too much protein. Your body starts, I think it's glycogenesis, I think is what it's called, where your body turns that protein into glucose.
Right. Yeah.
And so what I was doing is I was consuming tons of protein, but yet I was still getting that insulin rise. And I'm talking a little scientific here, but I was still getting that insulin rise. It wasn't doing any good because I was still having that insulin rise and using that for energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so protein could be used for energy if you consume enough of it.
Yep.
Yeah, if you eat in excess of anything, your body will turn it into stored energy.
Yeah.
Right.
But the hard part about keto is it takes a while to get your body to burn fat. It's just not, I got no carbs yesterday, I'm burning fat all day today. No.
Yep.
Your body will store carbs for days upon days upon days. That's where the old carb loading thing for marathoners and things like that came in. And so over the course of a week, 2 weeks, you get your body into producing ketones, where your body uses that for energy. Now, I will say this into the camera. In my opinion, ketogenic diet is not for CrossFit athletes, okay? There's too much intensity up and back down for that.
Yeah.
I don't think that now marathoners, I think it's good.
Yep.
I think you can do that because it's a long, sustained energy source.
And you can use fat as a fuel source during those types of exercises.
Exactly. Long, slow distance stuff you can. CrossFitters, I'm not a huge fan of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
burning too many sugars.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you had to figure that out. This is what works for you because you figured it out after trying, eating rice and then taking it out.
And how long did that take?
The ketogenic stuff?
Just like learning
really
what worked for
you know what? Honestly, it took probably 2 years for me to sit there and go, okay, I'm 36, turned 36 last week. This is what works for me.
Yeah.
And here's the guy that got me to doing this, I talked to him for 30 minutes this morning. One of my best friends in the world is Brian McKenzie. Brian McKenzie has done an amazing job at using himself as an experiment. He does it with his food. He does it with his workouts. Dude's on the cutting edge of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the cutting edge of breathing. He's got this guy, I think it's Iceland, Wim Hof, that he is talking about breathing and all this kind of stuff and getting in ice. And all, I mean, nobody's doing that.
Yep.
This dude is innovative, and I learned that from him. He said, you've got to use yourself as an experiment.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I don't recommend anything that I don't to people that I haven't done myself. And so I feel like that as a guy that's giving advice on giving an opinion, on things, I have to experiment with those things. And so I've experimented with high carb. I got a buddy, and he wanted me to do like 300 grams of carbs a day. I'm sitting there like at 9 o'clock at night, and I've got like, I call him, I'm like, bro, I got 70 grams of carbs left, and I can't freaking eat anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you just got to do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
I'm more,
It's about feeling good.
It's about feeling good.
Yeah.
And I'm more the thought process of, some people are going to totally disagree with me and rip me, but I really don't care. Eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of eat 6 times a day.
Yeah.
There's bodybuilders and fitness people out there that got to eat and all that stuff. Now, if you're a competitive CrossFit athlete, you need your fuel, and you're working out 3 times a day, it's different.
Yep.
But eat, if you're the normal person, which is 99.9% of the human race,
Yeah.
eat when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Don't eat because it says noon.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's noon and you're not hungry, don't eat.
Yeah.
You know?
Even Chris Spieler says that. I mean,
Yeah.
he has Superman.
Exactly. Yeah, huge in nutrition. So that's just my opinion, and it's taken me a while to experiment with the high carb and the paleo. You know what? I am not strict paleo all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. I'm not a huge zone guy. I have a zone plan on our website that we do. I'm not a huge zone guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, very intimidating for people to
Way
do
to
all
measure. Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. It's
That's a tough starting
That's
point.
a tough
It's
starting
tough.
point. Yeah.
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 And so
it's
I'm
like
not a
getting
hu-
somebody to run before they or swim before they can
Yeah.
they can walk. you know?
Exactly. So I'm not a huge zone guy either.
How much do you work out? What's your training look
35, 40 minutes a day,
like? Okay.
every day.
Yeah.
So
So I take a
live
day
long
off.
and live long and prosper is
yeah,
the plan.
Move.
Yeah.
It's like, had a lot of people around me in this fitness industry, and I think you need to do 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Lift something heavy, get out of breath.
Yeah.
And it's not mine. That's Rich's. Rich talks about that all the time. Lift something heavy and get out of breath. If you can do that, you'll be fine. I think the lifting heavy for me is something that helps change me physically, and the getting out of breath is something that gives me energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've ran 4 marathons back before my CrossFit days.
I forgot you did that.
Yeah, dude. I got down to 193 and was running marathons. I ran a 3:46 marathon.
That's
like
booking.
That's fast
And so I love
for a big boy.
I love running.
For a football
I do.
player.
But I'm not going to do it all the time.
Right.
I lift heavy on Mondays. I lift heavy on Wednesdays. I try to lift heavy one day or the Friday of the weekend, and I do in some kind of moving around. I'm a huge fan of like the every minute on the minute or every 2 minutes or the every 3 minutes doing something.
Yeah.
Because it's the built-in push.
Yeah.
When you because I work out by myself. Like I said, I'm done every day before 6.
And with that, it saves you time. Once you start the clock, your workout's done.
Yeah.
It's pretty much done. You're just
Yep.
on autopilot.
Yep,
You know,
I agree.
You're gonna roll
Totally.
through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Thomas, I mean, awesome, man. I love the questions. I
Thanks.
like the things that we challenged. I hope I hope people take a lot from it, especially in terms of helping. If you've got family that's kind of hard headed and you want to help them a little bit. And I'm not saying like push your views on them, but
Right.
you want to help them. The biggest challenge with saving money, like can you actually save money and still eat healthy? And then if you've got a family that you're trying to change the way they eat along with yourself, we gave some good examples and some takeaways.
Yeah, a lot of nuggets. A lot
Yeah.
of nuggets out of this.
Anything else you want to add to those points?
I think one of the things that it's very, very talking about kids, because like I said, we got 3 kids, and
Yep.
kids are our future. I mean, you don't have kids yet. You will one day. You and Brandy will have kids, and I think the biggest thing you can do is make sure you're monitoring what they're consuming. We're in an information society, and I'll give you a really, really a good example. Is so we don't watch much TV. We got like 5 channels. We don't even have cable. We've got like analog or whatever. And so we've got like 5 channels. One of the channels we have, and one of the things we would watch on occasion is American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, nice.
Okay, it's active, it's fun,
Right,
it's cool,
right.
there's fit people everywhere. So we're going to the grocery store one day. This is just an example of how powerful the things that we consume are. Okay, the studies show that kids start recognizing ads at age 3, and I believe it. Okay, so
Kids are playing with iPhones at like
Exactly.
2.
So at 6 years old, we're walking through the grocery store. Me and my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old, 3-year-old, 3 at the time and 6. We're walking through there, and my daughter sees a bottle of Palm Wonderful. What is Palm Wonderful?
Pomegranate juice.
Pomegranate juice. Okay? She goes, Daddy, I want some of that. I was like, babe, what is that? She's like, I don't know. I said, well, why do you want
I want it, though.
I said, well, why do you want it? She said, because it's on American Ninja Warrior. Because
yeah.
Palm Wonderful was
Yeah.
the sponsor.
Right.
And every 5 minutes, they're like, oh, the Palm Wonderful, so-and-so,
Yeah. The power of marketing.
The power of marketing. So be sure, and it's hard, be sure you're monitoring what your kids are taking in their little eyeballs, because it's so powerful. And here's the thing. The gloves are off these days with what is that Darren?
Yeah.
Hey, Darren. The gloves are off these days as far as restrictions are concerned on advertising. And so, because especially with the internet age, I mean,
Right.
the YouTube has become our new TV.
Right.
And so you got to be really, really careful about what you let your kids consume.
Interesting. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Where can people find you?
MealFit.co, not .com. I get that all the time. There's a guy in California that owns .com, and if you happen to be watching this guy that owns .com, please let me buy it. I would love to buy it from you. I talked to the guy one time, and he said, I'll get back to you. Never got back to me.
MealFit.please.
Yeah, exactly. MealFit.co. We do meal plans. We have a package that we do that's really, really good. We got a lot of different things, and if you're local, we've got catering and different things that we do.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So the newest thing we've got is MealFit Gym, and so I work at a gym, and one of the number one questions I get is, you got two groups of people at a gym, and you've all worked at a gym, so you know. You've got the one guy or girl that walks in, and they want to know everything. You tell them to go Google something, they're going to go Google it, and they're going to learn it.
That's me.
Then you've got the other guy or the girl that's like, you know what, just tell me what to eat. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two different groups of people. With MealFit Gym, what we're doing is, because what happens when you work there is you get trapped by the guy that wants to know everything,
right,
or the girl that wants to get you to write down everything for them. And so what we've done with MealFit Gym is it's a super small subscription that gives them 75% off our meal plan that we send out every week. And it gives them a grocery list, exactly what to eat. And here's the thing. It's not something that's super extravagant that they're not going to be able to make. Our thought process is for busy people, which is everybody.
Right.
Yep.
Our thought process is for busy people. If you've got a competitor that wants to go deeper, we can do that. Obviously, it would be a little bit more time. But we have a MealFit. If you go to our website, MealFit.co, and go to MealFit Gym, it's a subscription the gym owner buys. That after that, their members get the subscription for like dirt cheap.
That's really
and
cool.
then also, if you use the gym owner, you get a percentage of that back. So it's $10 a month for the member. I give you $2 back every month.
And these are bulk meals, so like you can make in big quantities and then eat throughout the week, where you save you time.
Correct.
That you don't
They're
have
for
to,
families more than they are the individual.
Yeah.
Now, because the individuals that call me are like, hey, you got an individual plan? I'm like, no, we don't. But here's what we can do. We can take 3 of these 5 recipes and make them so you can eat
What
them
if
all
you
week.
eat as much as a family?
If you eat as much as a family, and it's perfect for you.
I love the bulk cooking hacks and things like that. Anything I can find that's made in bulk, I'm a huge fan of. Because I like to make the meats in bulk. The veggies I just throw in as you go, because I don't like cooking those and then eating them throughout the week. They just don't stay that well. And then lots of rice.
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you teach anybody how to maybe prepare meals quickly, or
yes, yes. A lot of what we do is the cooking hack thing. Like for example, this next week coming up, we've got 2 recipes that have cauliflower rice. So what we need to do is, you take your cauliflower, you take the head of the cauliflower that you buy, you smash it on the table. Okay. After it's smashed on the table, it not disintegrates, but it breaks it up into chunks instead of having to take your knife out, cut the bottom off, and chop it up.
That little stuff would have saved me probably 4 hours of my life
seriously,
up to this point.
So you take the cauliflower. I'm going to hit the table, CTP. You take the cauliflower and you show this, bam, and you just hit it on there. And what happens is the stem breaks off, and you literally just hold it and dump it out. You throw it in the food processor, and you've got rice. After that, you throw it in a pan. Whatever seasoning you want, cauliflower you can make just about taste like anything, just like rice.
It doesn't have a taste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I tell people, hey, take 3 heads of cauliflower and do that. If you leave it raw in the fridge, it doesn't go bad in a week. So if it's raw, you pop it out, put it in a skillet, and you make it, and you've got it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the stuff you learn when you have to cook.
There'll be things like that are like
people.
game changers.
Oh, yeah.
And like the way we make like real rice. It's a game changer, because rice, you gotta sit there, the timer, and you gotta stir it, and take the top off. No, we do it in a way that is so easy. And then what we also started doing, Alex, is we started making these quick videos, 45, 55-second videos that are super fast motion, that you can see what they are. Click a button, you get the recipe, and it's easy. Because here's the thing: a lot of times, a lot of people are intimidated by following a recipe, but yet if they see a video, they'll do it because. We've got a lot of videos on our YouTube page. Yeah. And so if you want to, our MealFit YouTube page has got a lot of stuff on there, like our cauliflower pizza. It's got the recipe on there. We got a lot of different things like that just where I walk you through how to do things. And we're also doing these really short videos because people's attention spans
Yeah.
very, very short. So we're trying to keep those things under a minute so that you can see it, click it, get the recipe, and then make it.
Very cool. So if, we just named a lot of resources to find MealFit.co, and what's the best social media places? Instagram
or YouTube?
Or YouTube channel.
Instagram's where we're at most, but I mean, I tell you what, the fastest response is Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, people, all these new marketing guys like Facebook's dead. Facebook is not dead. There's like 1 billion people on there, and I communicate that way a lot. But also, you can get me through the website MealFit.co. We've got all the social media, all the contact forms, all the information on there, and we're fixing to upgrade our website too. So we got some new things coming on there too.
Very cool.
Guys, anything else you want to add?
No.
Man, thank you again, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Appreciate it. Yep, great message, and I hope everyone takes a lot from it.
Awesome.
I certainly have.
Yeah, it's a great interview.
Appreciate
it, guys.
Thanks. See you.